Hello friends, this is Hedda, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my May plan with me video. It is time to set up for May in my bullet journal. Well, actually, it is pretty late. It is already May, but that's just what happened this time and you know, better late than never, and there's still a lot left of May, so everything will be okay. I made a whole journaling kit for my patrons and there are all these sheets with stickers and everything. I was planning on using them myself, but turns out I have misplaced my scissors, and also the printer at my office has these yellow streaks on everything, and so I decided to go with my Ikigai Papir stickers as well. These are in the shop and I made most of these last year actually. And then there's also the Patreon exclusive sticker sheet. And I thought, you know, it will look nice with those as well. Even though I really wanted to use the printables, I have to adapt to the situation. And I was a little bit curious to see if I could do an entire setup with collages and everything without using scissors. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say that maybe I could have just gone out to buy new scissors if I couldn't find my scissors. But the thing is, I really love those scissors. And I know that they're here somewhere, or they're at home and not at the office. I just haven't seen them since the convention. And so I just need to look for them really hard, and it is a little bit of a mess here, so that's probably why I can't find them. Anyway, no scissors means just using my X-Acto knife more, and I'm using a cutting mat here so that I don't damage my notebook. I did manage to damage my notebook in the end anyway, but that's towards the end of this video. So for now, I'm good and using the cutting mat, and everything is working out fine. Not measuring anything, I'm just kind of eyeballing it because it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, especially in a collage. It's supposed to be a little bit imperfect and not perfectly planned out, you know? This month I'm going back to the cover page on one side, calendar on the other side type of cover page, because this has worked really well for me so far this year. I didn't do it for April, but the calendar was pretty small in April anyway. So I'm doing a collage on the left side, which will be the main cover page for the month of May, and then there will be a small calendar on the right side. The cover page actually turned out a lot busier than I had anticipated. It wasn't really my plan that it would turn out this way, but I quite like it actually. I used this black frame that's from Paper Monogatari. I can't remember exactly which collection it was from, but I wanted to use a little bit of black in here as details because the setup is mostly red and blue with some green here and there, and also white. But the thing about May, and the reason why I did this theme, is because the 17th of May is the Constitution Day here in Norway. And so my journaling kit and the stickers and everything are heavily influenced by Norwegian traditional wear, and they're called bunads. I'm pretty sure I talk about this every year in May because this is like one of my favorite themes to do. But basically the bunads, they're made from very thick wool, and a lot of them are black. And there will be greens and blues and reds as well, but predominantly black, and then a little bit of white. And so I wanted to have some black in the setup as well, and not just a bunch of bright colors, if that makes sense. Personally, I find red and blue together a pretty jarring color combination. It's not a color combination that I'm very comfortable with. So it has taken me a lot to be comfortable with this color palette and have it not feel so overwhelming. And I think the trick to doing that is to also include a lot of neutrals so that it's not a lot of blue and a lot of red, but it's a hint of red and blue. And then it's mostly other colors like whites and beige, brown and black. And yeah, that way it's just not as overwhelming. I'm really happy that I had the white flower stickers with the gold details. One of my followers actually sent those to me, Trine in Denmark. Thank you so much. They were perfect for the setup, and I used a lot of them actually because they added so much to the page without being overwhelming in terms of color, because there was already a lot of colors happening. So it was actually perfect to have a white sticker like this it has happened once or twice before that I go a little bit overboard with the collages, and this is one of them. I could have maybe not done the red flower. It would have maybe let the girl sticker pop a little bit more than it does, and also the girl sticker could have been a little bit larger for this particular collage. I did actually print her a little bit larger on regular printer paper, but again, with the office printer having the yellow streaks, it just didn't look nice, and I also didn't have my scissors, so yeah, this is just the way it had to be, which is fine. And I tried to use more stamps because I've gotten new stamp storage, and I am trying to actually use more of the stamps that I have because I have an insane collection of wooden stamps that I really need to use. So some of these are from the new Tsuki Studio set from Notebook Therapy. The bottom stamp is from the Whimsical Botanicals set, I think. And then I just added some square stickers from my own shop for some added details, and the May title is also from one of my own sticker sheets that you can find in the shop. It is almost sold out though, if it isn't already. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've always set aside a few sticker sheets for myself that I can use even if I sell out. Okay, so moving on to the calendar spread, which will be on the next page. Now, instead of doing a proper May calendar with only the days that are in May, I decided to just do the 5 weeks that predominantly have days in May, because May starts on a Thursday and ends on a Saturday, and so both that first and that 5th week is mostly May. And this way I think that it looks a little bit nicer, and it's also very easy to decorate when it's just a perfect rectangle like this. I used a red highlighter to kind of make a top bar on each of the weeks, and then I'm writing the days with a black fine liner, and then I used a gray gel pen to fill in the April and the June days that are also in here, just to differentiate between May and the other months. When using like collaging as my main form of decoration in my bullet journal, one of my favorite things to do with the calendars, or any boxes really, is to decorate it as if it is its own layer, if that makes sense. So decorating it with stickers and paper and making it seem like some of the stickers are behind the calendar and some of them are in front. So that's what I did here with this flower sticker. So I used my X-Acto knife to cut along the edge. I mean, the sticker is pretty see-through, so it was very easy to cut along the edge of the calendar with my X-Acto knife. Now, if I had my scissors, I would have just used the scissors because it would have been even easier, but oh well. And then I'm just gluing them as close to the edge as I can get, and making it seem like the flowers are kind of behind the calendar. And then I used other stickers, stamps, and kind of layered those on top of the calendar. And then this way, it seems as if the calendar is its own layer on top of the background. I did cover up June 1st because I don't really need it. It's going to be in the June calendar anyway. And since the calendar isn't super big, I mean, it is covering most of the page, but each day is quite small. And because of that, I tried to keep the decorations pretty small. I wouldn't say minimal, because it's definitely not minimal, but not too overwhelming. And then at the top, I put a stamp. This is from the Tsuki Studio set from Notebook Therapy. Actually, you guys, if you didn't know, I have a discount code for Notebook Therapy. It's mochibujo 10. There's also a link in the description box, so if you see anything from them that you want to get, you get 10% off with that code. I used my own alphabet stickers for the days of the week, and I chose black to kind of tie in a little bit of that black from the left side of the spread with the frame and the bunad and everything. And then I wrote this month on top, also with a black fine liner. Now, one thing that I maybe could have done differently is I could have used black ink instead of the brown ink for the stamps, but then again, I feel like it's a nice combination of the brown and the black. I don't really mind, and it does make it a little bit more muted and softer, and lets you have more contrast. When something is black, then it is more visible, you know? Moving on to the next spread, this is going to be my main task list and also a little page for notes and reflections. And I'm keeping it super simple for this, just 2 rectangles. They are roughly the same size as the calendar, maybe a little bit longer. And I decided to just keep it simple like this with small collages because again, with bright colors and lots going on, didn't want it to be too overwhelming. At this point, I also realized that it's kind of silly of me to do a Norway theme and then do everything in English. So for this page, I did the titles in Norwegian with my alphabet stickers. And then for some reason in the weekly spread, I went back to English. I'm super confused with the languages, clearly. If it wasn't such a huge job to do subtitles, I would have done this entire video in Norwegian, but I don't think that that's something I should do with a video that is already like 2 or 3 weeks late. So I'm saving that for another video that I maybe have a little bit more time to edit. Anyway, back to the spread. This actually ended up being my favorite spread of this setup. Usually my favorite spread turns out to be the cover page because I just love making cover pages, but there's just something about the spread that I really, really like. So I decided to try to make it not symmetrical, but have like a similar weight on each side, if that makes sense. This is something that I usually think a lot about when making collages. Like, you don't want it to be symmetrical because that's impossible, because you're usually adding a lot of unique pieces into one bigger thing, but you want it to still be equally filled. Like it has to be even, kind of. So that's why I have these 2 rectangles on each side, and then I have a smaller frame for both of the pages, but on the left side I'm putting it towards the top left corner, and then on the right side I'm putting it towards the bottom right corner. So this way it is kind of weighted the same way. It's not symmetrical because the frames, the paper, everything is different on both sides, but I'm still using the same elements and I'm putting them on opposite ends of the spread to have it be somewhat even. And then you can see that I used my red alphabet stickers for the title. I wrote oppgaver, which is the Norwegian word for tasks. And then on the right side of the spread, I wrote refleksjoner, which is Norwegian for reflections. And I don't usually add a reflections page to my spreads, but I have a lot going on at the moment or like a lot of self-discovery happening, I guess. It's a good thing. So yeah, I just wanted to have a little piece in my journal that isn't like regular daily journaling, like diary keeping, but instead have like a monthly reflections page where I can kind of check in with myself and see where I'm at. And sometimes that's what you need. You can see that I use the same quote-unquote trick with removing some of the sticker, or like cutting the stickers off so that some of the pieces seem to be in front of the rectangle and some are in the back. This way creating a lot more dimension to the spread and making it a little bit more exciting. Exciting is maybe the wrong term, but making it more interesting, I would say. I remembered I had these cute little heart stickers and I decided to add those as well. They are almost the same size as the smallest square stickers from my square sticker sheets, which you can also find in the shop, by the way. I will put links to everything that I'm using in this setup in the description box if I have links for it. I don't know where the white flowers are from, unfortunately, because like I said, they were a gift, but most of the other things here I will have links for. So check out the description box if you see something that you're interested in. And yeah, back to the heart stickers. I think that they added something a little bit extra to the spreads, and because they are the same size as the smallest square stickers, it doesn't look out of place or anything. It just looks like an extra square until you look closer and then there's a little heart and it's really cute. Honestly, the square stickers just makes decorating so easy because they're so simple, but they do so much. I love circle and square stickers. That's why I have so many of them in my shop in all kinds of different colors. So yeah, now you know. The fine liner that I used for the boxes is an Ohuhu fine liner. I'll put links to that in the description box as well. I use the Ohuhu fine liners all the time, and yeah, this one was one of the thicker ones. I think it's a 0.7 or a 0.8 if I remember correctly. And then I did use 2 other pens for the setup, 2 highlighters. They are from Iconic, the 2-way color pens from Iconic. They're both from the retro pack, Pale Vermilion and Cloudy Blue. And I felt like these fit this setup perfectly because they are a more muted, softer version of the red and blue in the rest of the stickers. I also tried to include a hint of butterflies because I actually drew so many butterflies for the journaling kit for my patrons because I was gonna do a lot of butterflies in the setup, but again, you know, plans had to change because of the missing scissors. That is a real mystery. So I used some of these butterfly stamps from Notebook Therapy instead to kind of just add a hint of butterflies, and then hopefully when I find my scissors I can use a lot more butterflies in the weekly spreads, because in this video I'm setting up one of the weekly spreads, but the rest of them I still haven't made, so lots of butterflies in those, I hope. The final details to this spread was just the little lines that I used the fine tip of the highlighter pens to make. I did red on one side and blue on the other. I think the spread turned out so cute. And then the last spread that we're setting up is the first weekly spread of May, but technically it's actually not the first week because life happened and I actually didn't have a spread for the first week of May, or like the last few days of April and the first few days of May. I just didn't have time to set it up. So that is one week that will be missing from my journal. But that's what's so beautiful about a bullet journal too, is that you can just, you know, set up the spreads that you need or that you want, and then you can skip a week and it's fine. Nothing bad happens. It's not like you're gonna have a gaping hole in your planner from that one week that you didn't fill out, you know? And some weeks when I have like a singular task, like I was struggling to finish the journaling kit for my patrons, for example, like all of those printables, I finished them and posted them on the 30th of April, which is super late and much later than I normally do. So that week was just mostly doing that. And then I took a few days off because there was a holiday in Norway and I had a lot of family stuff going on. So I really didn't need a spread for that week because I had one big task and then the rest was other obligations that didn't really need planning, you know? One thing that is a little bit different about this weekly spread than my usual weekly spreads is that I have a habit tracker here. I decided to not do a monthly habit tracker spread in my journal for May, just because I wanted less spreads to set up because it was already so late. And I also thought it would be nice to have them in my weekly spreads this time around, just to try something a little bit different. And so I used this rub-on sticker from Notebook Therapy, and it's only like one habit for the week, but it's kind of enough. So the habit that I'm focusing on is working out, because aren't we all always struggling to do that enough? And then for decoration, I decided to brave the X-Acto knife just to cut out this one piece from the journaling kit, which is inspired by rosemaling, which is a traditional Norwegian art style. You'll see this on a lot of wooden things like old cabinets or bowls or just any kind of furniture, really. People would paint this on there, and it's usually in red and green and blue and quite bold, bright colors. And I thought that it would look really nice at the top here as a little border kind of. So I cut the whole thing that I drew in half actually, and only included half of it on the left side, and then I included the rest of it on the right side, again with that balance and the equal weight thingy that I talked about earlier. And then for the days, I used my own black number circle stickers because I wanted to have something black here again to kind of tie in with the bunad and everything. And I'm using the same bunad as on the cover page because I already have a sticker sheet with the Setesdalsbunad from last year, and then I drew another one for my patrons this year, and I am partial to this one because that is the one that I have. I'll include a little video of me in that bunad because I love it so much, and I'll be wearing it on the 17th of May, our Constitution Day, which is pretty much the only time of the year that I wear it unless there's a baptism or a confirmation or something in the family that I get invited to. Those don't happen that often. So it's usually a once a year thing. For the daily titles, I started with the black alphabet stickers, then realized I didn't have enough of them because I didn't have enough Y's and S's and T's, I think, which is annoying. And I'm all out of these sticker sheets. So I removed all of them again and went for the blue days of the week stickers that were in the advent calendar from 2024, because this way I added a little bit more blue to the spread, and I think that it turned out quite nice. It was a little bit annoying having to remove all of the little stickers, but I think it worked in my favor. I decided to keep the black circle stickers for the numbers though. To get the layout of this weekly spread, I split each page into 6 sections, so I would have 12 more or less equal sections, and I only need 7 of them for the days, of course. I used the top 2 and the bottom left on the left side spread for decoration, which meant that I have 3 days on the left side, I have 4 days on the right side. So I have a little bit of room for decorations in the bottom right and the top right corners. So I just decided to go all out with the bunad and stickers and everything. I also used some stamps to add a little bit more to the spread and also to tie in everything from the cover page where I used a lot of stamps. I also used more square stickers, of course, and I tried to line them up so that they would be kind of a little bit behind the girl in the bunad, but still be visible. And the bunad on the right side here is Hardanger bunad. It is one of the most common bunads in Norway as far as I know. At least I know a lot of people who have it. Maybe that's just indicative of like my group of friends or acquaintances and family, but yeah. There are many rules about how to wear a bunad. I mean, rules, there are suggestions, but some people are very strict about it. So a lot of rules about how to wear them, but you can pretty much choose whichever one you want, but most people have bunads from the area that they are from or where parts of their families are from. A lot of these are very expensive, and so it is common to inherit from grandparents or parents or great grandparents. Mine is a new one, but the one I had as a child has been in the family for ages, that like all the children wear it. And my mom's was inherited, so she has an older one. And there's always a lot of debate on like which one you should have. Personally, I think it's nice to have one from a place where I feel a connection to, because Oslo is a bigger city in Norway. I mean, it's a small city, but in Norway it is the biggest one. It is the capital, and there are people from all over the country here. And a few years ago they actually made an Oslo bunad. It's called Oslo-drakten. It's not really a bunad because it is newer, but it is really pretty, and I could have that if I wanted to spend a lot of money on another bunad. But I don't really feel like it because I love my Setesdalsbunad, and I love that I have that one from a place that I love very much, and a place where I have spent a lot of time growing up. Basically all holidays were spent there, and it means a lot to me. So that's a quick little introduction to bunads and Norwegian traditional costumes that you did not ask for. And it also concludes this monthly setup. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Of course, we'll do a flip through as usual so that we can get a closer look at all the spreads that I set up in this video. If you watched the entire video all the way to the end, put a Norwegian flag emoji in your comment to let me know. That would make me very happy, and it would also probably make the Norwegians less confused about where I'm from, because I get messages pretty much every month from Norwegians surprised that I am Norwegian because all of my content is in English. I don't think I could be any more clear with this theme that I am Norwegian. For those of you waiting for a reading journal update, it is coming, I promise. I'm just very behind. I think I'm going to combine March and April into one video just to make things a little bit easier for myself. I haven't even read that many books, so I think that will make the most sense in the end. So that will be my next video, and I'm already planning for June. I've already started on the printables for my patrons, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to click the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!